Hi, welcome to Edward Box Guitar Tuition. So my classic album inspection today is Van Halen 2, the sophomore release by Van Halen. 45 years old today, released March 23rd, 1979. So this album first came to my life in 1985. I bought Fair Warning. I think we already had 1984 in the house. I think the next album I bought was Women and Children first. And then my older brother managed to get me a copy of this in Leeds because he was studying there for £3 or something like that, and he brought it home with me at the end of the summer term. So I imagine I had it in my sweaty mitts sometime in June or July. Had it with the original inner bag with the great photos on. Later on I bought it again because the sleeve was really creased, which didn't have the inner bag, but I'd swap it over with the inner bag and so on and sell the creased copy because I was pedantic that way because I liked all my sleeves perfect. Okay, so a bit of that there. So the history of this is some of the tracks appeared on original Van Halen demos. There's actually 25 songs recorded by Van Halen on the demos, Gene Simmons and the Warner Brothers demos, I believe, in 76 and 77. There was Beautiful Girls, which was called Bring On The Girls. Somebody Get Me a Doctor as well. I think they had various riffs lying around, and these demos would actually provide rich pickings for Van Halen all the way through their first 6 albums. Would later be dipped into as well for a different kind of truth. So this album did well at the time, obviously not as well as Van Halen 1, but it sold about 5.7 million copies in the United States since 2004. As of 2004, it's probably close to 6 now with streams. And it charted quite a lot of places. Australia, Canada, Holland, Germany, Japan, Sweden, UK, and Billboard made number 6. So Hungarian albums as well. So Van Halen, getting a lot of traction in Europe as well at the time. This features Eddie's famous Bumblebee guitar on the back. Apparently he didn't track any of the album with it because the guitar arrived after recording, but he used it in the photo sessions. I think he changed a few parts and used it on the tour. This is actually my favourite Van Halen guitar of all time. I love the Bumblebee look, and it's buried with Dimebag Darrell after he was murdered in 2004. Eddie gave it to the family, and it was put in, because he liked the guitar so much, it was put in his Kiss casket and loaded in the ground. So it's kind of weird to think, obviously the guitar was still out there in the world, it would be, a thing of interest and worth a vast amount of money, but that's the character of Eddie Van Halen. He didn't think like that. He knew Dimebag was a fan, he was a friend, and that's where the guitar went, so that's an amazing thing. This was actually recorded 10 days, I think, or the week after they completed their first world tour. It was recorded within a week, so they'd obviously, worked up these tracks in sound checks and on the road, I guess, and they'd obviously practiced them before. Remember, Van Halen did an enormous amount of gigs before they got signed. Enormous amount of practicing, so they could just go in and nail it. What's different about this album is Eddie doesn't do as many sort of fills and one pass guitar solos on the same take. It tends to have the rhythm track on the left side speaker facing, and his solos will come in the other end. So what's different about this album from Van Halen 1? Listening to the last few days, I think the first thing is it definitely forms a pair with Van Halen 1, and I call this the sunnier side. And if I was to describe it, is Van Halen 1 is the Backyard Party Saturday Night album. It's got an aggression, it's got a raucousness on the guitar sound. It's like, let's get fucking pissed on Saturday night and wake up in the morning, fucking what happened, And I'm sure when people first heard the album, they were like, yeah, what just fucking happened? This, it's a little mellower, it's more like, it's the day after the party, it's a hangover day, let's just go to the beach, or let's just go and watch the sunset, have a couple of beers and wind down. It's got a sunny disposition. When I was younger, pardon me, just a bit of an itch, I always liked this album. I didn't like it as much. It was kind of like 3 3.75 stars out of 5 for me. But it's a really great record. It's a classic album. It's probably like my 4th or 5th favourite Van Halen album of all time, but it depends what mood you're in with Halen. It's only 31 minutes and 36 seconds long, so this would be a pattern that would continue on all the albums for up to 1984. The albums would be 31, 33 minutes. Van Halen 1's an anomaly in that it's 35, 36 minutes long. So it opens with a cover of Clint Ballard Jr.'s "You're No Good" from 1963, which is I think it's who wrote it? Clint Ballard Jr. Yeah, he wrote it. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I really like this track. It's a cool cover version. It's kind of a weird thing why Halen still did cover versions, but that was what they did. It's got a great solo by Eddie. I don't think they played this live much, this track, or maybe not at all. Really good opener. It's got a cool bass, you know. Again, it opens more kind of subdued, you know. Obviously, Van Halen 1 opens with Running with the Devil with that horn and that bass. First thing, the guitar sound on this album, yeah, it's a little warmer. His sound's starting to get browner. You know, the brown sound, as we call it on Van Halen 1, is actually a little brassy. It goes a little browner, and then it goes browner still on Women and Children First, and it achieves its optimum shade of brown for me on Fair Warning, and then it goes brighter again. Yeah, so this is a great track. Dance the Night Away is next, classic Van Halen track, really poppy. I think when I was younger I didn't like this track as much because it was too poppy for me, but it's a lovely track, 3 minutes and 6 seconds. A real staple of live shows and shows the lighter shade of the band. Then the classic Somebody Get Me a Doctor. I mean, it's hard to believe this track's only 2 minutes and 52 seconds long. Great riff by Eddie, one of his greatest riffs. Love the verses on this. Bow, bow, da, 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 down, down. He actually uses the Phrygian mode on this, E to F, pedaling over the E, giving it a really dark sound. Love that track. Then you got Bottoms Up. This was a track I didn't used to like and used to be my least favourite track on the album. It maybe still is to a certain extent, but I really like it. This has actually got a ZZ Top boogie to it, and 2 really cool lead breaks by Eddie. He seems to have like some really gnarly phase on this. Again, it's just kind of a laugh really, it's particularly in the breakdown. Bottoms up, and it's the first time David Lee Roth breaks into laughter, and I will leave that on the track. I should say on this album, David Lee Roth, you can see there's a bit of laziness coming in here. On the first album, Ted Templeman's disciplined him and he's actually turned in very controlled vocals. Running with the Devil, particularly being a brilliant vocal where it's using all his strengths. On this album, you can see he's kind of gassing it a bit more. You know, it's recorded in a week, Van Halen was recording 3 weeks, and I think that's a difference. Then you got Out of Love. I'm not sure if the place will have a love this track. Bam, 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 bam. Very funky. Cool licks on this, and as I was saying about David Roth vocals, I think this is his best vocal on this. He does all his his whammy bar screams, as I call them, which Al Howe of Greg Howe's band, if you know the How To album, he copied that. But again, there's a bit more control here. I love his vocal on this. Yeah, I mean that side of that album is what 6, 7, 8. 40, 15 minutes, 60, you know, you literally put it on and it's gone and it's just fun. Side 2 opens up with Light Up the Sky. This got that cool little atonal sort of chromatic intro. This is kind of the up-tempo track like the Atomic Punk, with the kind of slightly darker lyrics. Love this. Cool solo, really good. Then you go into Spanish Fly. You know, the first time I heard this, it's like, how is this so clean? I mean, I knew it was kind of tapping, but there's the amazing bit. It goes, you know, does his run of 6s, group of 3 on, you know, he plays the 3, group of 3 on the B string, group of 3 on the high E. It's a ba-da-da-da-da-da, 16th note triplets for the musos out there, but he's so clean. When he goes to the next bit, you know, you can hear a couple of bits where he kind of gets snagged up, but he's doing what Paul Gilbert calls clucking, where he's picking certain notes and hammering off and pulling off. Very much like the Eruption lick. And then he just does the amazing open string tapping. It's a big stretch, but it's done on a nylon string guitar. And if you play the nylon string guitar, you know the action's very high, so you've got light strings, but lighter feel the strings, but maybe filed off some of the bridge, I don't know. But it's so clean, just one little bit. Just great. I love them at the start as well. I think you maybe hear him inhaling a tab. Great. So DOA's the next track. So this was the B-side of the reissue of the Running with the Devil single from 1980. So back in 1980, on the back of New Woman and a resurgence in rock, Warner Brothers reissued 2 Montrose singles or created Montrose singles. I don't know if the original B-side. They did Running with the Devil, of course. This was a different B-side because when Running with the Devil first came out, it wouldn't have DOA on it didn't exist. But it had a cool cover of David Roth with a kind of a yellow leather cat suit on, which I can't remember seeing him in other than that, really. But DOA is a great track. It's in the key of F sharp. I can't remember if this album's tuned to E flat. If not, it would play in F. You know, Eddie really attacks that bass note on his string. Great solo. He does a you know, he kind of does a pull-off thing on his and dips his whammy. Yeah, this may be his best lead work on this. Really good kid. Good vocals by Roth on this. Great lyrics. Found a dirty-faced kid in a garbage can. Love that lyric when I was a kid, you know. Dirty-faced kid in a garbage can, you know. It's great. It's so American. Then that's 4 minutes and 9. This is the longest track on the album. Then you got next track, Women in Love. This is over 4 minutes. Great tapped harmonic intro from Eddie. Lovely clean sound with good chorus on probably an MXR maybe. Don't know if it would have been a Boss, I think an MXR. Quite a lot of top end on it. Yeah, I should just mention on Dance the Night Away, he's kind of got a chorus and he's maybe got maybe there's a little bit of octaver on that track. Yeah, Women Love's great. It's got a great it uses sixes. It's a 6 interval on the A and G string to play a cool riff on this. Lovely little solo, great backing vocals. Again, very poppy. Makes a nice sort of partner piece with Dance the Night Away. Then it finished with Beautiful Girls. Again, this was a track I wasn't as keen on in the past, but it's great. Again, it's got that swing, it's got that funky pocket that Van Halen did so well. Really good, kind of nice comedy breakdown in it as well at the end. Come over here, you know, David Roth doing his little rapping, so to speak. Really good. Again, that finishes the album just like a really great record. Like I say, you know, people prefer Van Halen 1 and Women and Children first, but Van Halen 2's great. It would have been, this probably might have been the best tour to see them on, this or Women and Children first, because by that point you just get all the great cuts, and you get that advantage with Van Halen because they do short songs. You get lots of songs, you know. You also say Eddie again, he just does short punchy solos. A lot of his solos are kind of 15 seconds long. It was something that my generation of players and the players probably didn't really learn from. They started in long solos. And the trick with Van Halen was he got all these amazing things, but he thought about the song and kept it concise. The only other thing to say is Eddie Psalms, he's actually got some harmony guitar part, unison bends on You're No Good, and there's little bits where he's tracking in extra parts, which differs from Van Halen 1. Yeah, probably less bottom end on this album, maybe. So yeah, that's my review of Van Halen 2. Always like this record and I love it. It is a classic, you know. I pretty much reach for those first 6 Van Halen albums, whatever the time of day, whatever the mood. This is some of my favourite music of all time. And I just feel really lucky that I lived at a time when I could listen to that and go back and get those albums. So please remember to share and subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you again. Thanks very much.